Rick fans, and welcome to the Rick Bakery, where all our jokes are half baked. I'm Jacob, and today I'll be discussing custom road plates for your LEGO city. Many LEGO cities utilize road plates like these. The advantages with these road plates is that they are readily available and they look good. The printing makes them look very much like real roads, and that granular, coarse surface does make it look like asphalt or cement. But there's also certain disadvantages to road plates like these. These particular road plates are not the current generation of road plates. The modern day road plates are actually a bit wider in these sections here and have fewer studs on each side, but they will serve fine to illuminate my point. LEGO cities are often constructed on patterns, grid patterns that go by 32 by 32 studs, which makes sense because that is the basic standard base plate. The problem with this type of road plates, no matter how wide or narrow the road actually is that the road divides the base plate up in two, and that makes it increasingly difficult to actually build something meaningful on each side. And for these particular road plates, there's even the added difficulty of the width here being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 studs. And 9 is an unequal number, and unequal numbers are notoriously difficult to work with in LEGO. Moreover, these road plates also only allow for roads to look like this. You can't have a road that's in a middle of or on the side of a base plate here, for instance, or all the way on the edge. So there are certain limitations to these road plates. And on curved road plates like this one, you have a big area over here that can be hard to utilize because of this rounded edge right here. Now, I have seen some very elegant solutions utilizing these road plates here, but for a LEGO city like mine that doesn't have a lot of space, an alternative might be worth considering. And that alternative is, of course, custom road plates. And this is my version of a custom road plate. I'll show you in details in just a minute how I build these. But first of all, I'd like to go through what I think is the advantage with these. First of all, having custom road plates in a city allows me to place the roads wherever I want them. In this case, I've placed them here on the side. It also allows me to decide how wide my road is. In this case, it is 8 studs wide, which is a rather narrow road, but also means that it takes up less room in a custom LEGO city. Additionally, I've gone with some very narrow sidewalks here because that increases the amount of room that's left for building stuff right here. And to me, that is one of the most important parts of a LEGO city and road plates. You want to maximize the space you have for building your custom buildings. Now, there's of course other opportunities with these custom road plates. You can place them in another way, like this, for instance. And that creates a much wider road here in the middle. You could of course add some white tiles down the middle to give the impression of those stripes that are often seen in the middle of roads. But the point remains the same. There's still more coherent room to actually build your custom builds. Again, there are other ways to place it, depending on what you want from your city. Of course, you could also have a road plate like this, with the road just continuing here and the sidewalk extending all the way out, so you'll have one continuous road. One of the things people often want in their LEGO city is the big creator modular buildings, because they are just gorgeous. And you might be wondering, how do these road plates fit those? And that is actually quite simple. You just use this edge here and put that against the sidewalk of the modular. And then you have a sidewalk, a road, and another sidewalk, which makes logical sense, I think. Again, that means you will have quite narrow roads in your LEGO city, but I think that makes a lot of sense. Some of the modular buildings are actually mostly European in style, and old European cities do tend to have very, very narrow streets because they were founded in the Middle Ages. The way traffic is solved in that situation is either by making the roads pedestrianized or making them one way. And you can just make your roads one way, and it'll make sense anyway. You might be thinking that the sidewalks are kinda narrow, and I will agree. But I think they are wide enough. If we take a minifigure and place him on the sidewalk, we can see there is actually ample room for him to walk by. And a narrow sidewalk also allows for more place for building. You'll have to remember that these road plates are substitutes for normal road plates, so this space here is still bigger and more coherent than what you're getting by using a standard LEGO road plate. One of the disadvantages of these custom road plates is the clutch power of base plates, which isn't very, very good. And if you want to move something from a jumper plate to something else, you'll end up pulling out the jumper plate like this. Now, I've chosen to place these road plates like this in my LEGO city because I think that makes sense, and I do have a large coherent space for builds like this. You may be wondering why I have a sidewalk on this side here, but that's simply because I have an idea of how I want to display my builds in my LEGO city. By having a sidewalk so close to the edge of my table, I also allow my buildings to have fronts that goes towards the viewer and not just inside the city. And I think that'll look great. But the only question that remains now, I think, is how I built these road plates. As you can see, all of this is tiles, black tiles, light grey tiles, and dark grey tiles. There's a few jumper plates, 2x2 jumper plates, and a few 1x2 jumper plates, and also some of these minifig stand plates here. The jumper plates are there both to create some dynamic look to the sidewalk, but also to give certain points where I can place things, minifigures, and small builds if I want to. And the same is true for these minifigure display plates that I've placed all throughout the road. These allow me to put in minifigures or some other stuff on the roads and make everything seem a little more dynamic. If you don't have these jumper plates or these minifigure stands in black, I think you could use just normal plates, 1x1, 1x2, 1x3, 1x4, and add them in at random places so you'll have studs to place stuff on. And now I'll show you in a little more detail how I built these road plates. What you'll need is, of course, a base plate. This one is green, but it could be any color because everything is going to be covered up once you are done building. And if you want to copy my road plates exactly, you'll need some dark gray tiles like these. These could be 1x2s or 2x2s, just any gray tiles you have, that would be fine. You'll also need a bunch of black tiles. These are 1x4s. They were in a pick-a-brick wall not too long ago, so they were rather cheap for me to get, and make sure to get a lot of black ones because they will disappear quickly when making road plates like this. Then of course you'll need some light grey tiles like these to make the edges of the sidewalks. And lastly, if you want to add any patterning or pedestrian crossings to your road, you will want some white or yellow tiles. That depends a bit on what part of the world you are from, but I use white because those are the ones we have in Denmark. So if you want to copy mine, I'll try to make a straight road here. We'll see how far we get with the bricks I've got. But if I want to make a road up here, I'll be adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wide roads, and that'll look like this. So that's the road part tiled right here. You can see that I left a few out right here, and that's because I want to add a pedestrian crossing with some of the white tiles like this. And already we are getting to a point where this is starting to look very much like what we wanted to. Now you'll notice that in my road plates I used 8 wide roads and 3 wide sidewalks. That's because I have a 3 wide sidewalk here too, and that means it's actually an equal number that's in between the 2 sidewalks, because 3 plus 3 makes 6, and that leaves out an equal number between the 2. Now you want to make sure that your sidewalks are an equal number as well, so you end up with an equal number of studs, because equal numbers are just easier to work with. So this sidewalk will be 1 stud wider than the ones I've showed you, or you can make the road 1 stud wider than the ones I showed you. It is up to you. I think we'll try it with a 9 wide road and a 3 wide sidewalk. You'll see that I've added in some jumper plates here, but that is voluntary if you want to. You don't need to do that, but I think it looks kind of neat. And I'll also add in some jumper plates for the sidewalk like this. So that is the dark grey part tiled, and you'll notice that I've left 1 out here, and that's because I like to add these grills because they look like drainage, like this. So now we got a finished road plate. Of course, you could very easily add some of those CMF plates instead of these tiles right here, which would give some structure to the road and also some studs to place stuff and minifigures on. But what is very, very, very important to make everything easier for yourself is that this is now 12 studs, and that means you have exactly 20 studs to work with for your own buildings. And I don't think it can be said often enough that equal numbers are much easier to work with in LEGO because most of their elements are divided in equal numbers. So now we can compare this road plate to the official road plates. Now again, this isn't the current generation of road plates, but the point is the same. Actually, you have less room for building on the newer road plates as these areas here are narrower. But now you can really see the advantage of these custom road plates. Instead of having a wide area going down through the middle of your base plate that divides your buildable area into 2, you now have 1 big coherent section that can be utilized for your builds. Personally, I think this is much easier to work with and looks much nicer. And it makes your city looks much more unique and special when you use custom road plates than when you use standard road plates, because standard road plates makes many cities look very, very much the same. All in all, I think that these custom road plates are very, very advantageous for a LEGO city. You've got a much more individualized look, you've got more control of where your roads are going to be, and you've got bigger, coherent areas to build your builds. So all in all, this is great, I think, and it works really well for me at least. So that was my version of a custom road plate. A thing I haven't really gone into in this video is the price of these things. I don't know how the price of this compares to a normal road plate, and I think it might be a bit difficult to compare, to be honest. I've gotten this base plate second-hand and therefore fairly cheap. I've gotten these tiles here at a pick-a-brick wall, and some of these jumper plates are second-hand as well. So I have no clear idea of how expensive that might be, and I'm not sure if it is more expensive than the normal road plates. My guess is that if you buy all of this, it's going to be more expensive than if you use normal road plates. But I do think it looks good, and maybe you can tell me your own version of a custom road plate. I'll be happy to hear about it. I've seen some custom road plates out there with people using snot techniques, for instance, and those look really, really good as well. And that allows you to use some of those normal bricks that might be a little less expensive than these. But all in all, I think this looks good, and I really, really like having these and the freedom that follows in my LEGO city. But that's all for me today. I hope you'll comment, like, and subscribe, and I hope I'll see you guys next Monday.